A road rage incident last Friday led to a police investigation and the arrest of 3 Hays suspects on drugs and firearm charges. Hays Police Chief Don Schleiber reported that the alleged road rage incident took place at 12:13 p.m. on February 28th at the intersection of 13th and 4th Street after 2 vehicles nearly collided, and a handgun was allegedly brandished during the incident. That same day, police officers located a vehicle linked to the incident, which led them to the residence of 2 identified suspects. Schleiber said a search warrant was executed once officers became aware of potential drug activity, and officers allegedly discovered a large quantity of marijuana, drug paraphernalia, the handgun involved in the road rage incident, and a rifle. 27-year-old Devin Reed was arrested at the residence and charged with possession of marijuana, intent to distribute, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to have a drug tax stamp, aggravated assault, and criminal possession of a firearm. He was arrested alongside 27-year-old Michaela Miller, who faced charges of possession of marijuana, distribution of marijuana, possession of drug paraphernalia, failure to have a drug tax stamp, and aggravated assault. According to Schleiber, 18-year-old Legend Robertson, who also resided at the home, turned himself into the police, and he was arrested and charged with possession of cocaine, possession of marijuana, and intent to distribute marijuana. Schleiber said he appreciates the outstanding work of patrol officers and the investigation division, as they were able to arrest people they believed to be involved in dealing drugs in their community. He said they did a great job on their part in making the community safer, and he appreciates their hard work. The ATF Transparency Act will ensure law-abiding gun owners experience a fair and speedy application process when exercising their Second Amendment rights. And U.S. Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas and U.S. Senator Jim Risch of Idaho introduced the legislation, along with 6 other U.S. senators, to improve the fairness, speed, and transparency of background checks and application processes for National Firearms Act, or NFA, items. Senator Marshall said as a lifelong gun owner and supporter of the Second Amendment, he went to the Senate with the mission of protecting the sacred constitutional right for all Kansans. He said the ATF Transparency Act furthers his mission by requiring the ATF to develop an appeals process to protect Americans' background checks from being wrongfully denied, as this is a common-sense step forward to safeguard the Second Amendment, and he's proud to stand alongside his colleagues in support. The ATF Transparency Act would codify the appeals process to protect law-abiding Americans' background checks from being wrongfully denied, require the ATF to process applications within 3 days, and if the ATF fails to do so, the applications would be automatically approved, and it requires the Government Accountability Office and DOJ to report on the number of NFA items involved in unresolved background checks, recommend ways to reduce unresolved checks, and report on the FBI's National Instant Criminal Background Check System involvement. The ATF Transparency Act has received support from Gun Owners of America and the National Rifle Association. A portion of I-70 will close at midnight tonight, Tuesday, March 11th, for a full week while crews remove an old bridge, as the Kansas Department of Transportation is set to take down the old bridge at exit 157, which goes over I-70 west of Hays. The Kansas Department of Transportation built a new bridge for the US 183 bypass. Starting today, a detour will take drivers off of I-70 at exit 157, and then they will merge back on. The Kansas Department of Transportation plans to take down the stop signs that currently sit at the top of the exit, with Kevin Zimmerman, the engineer with the Kansas Department of Transportation, saying where you would expect to see the stop sign, they will have that removed or taken down, so that it's just a free-flowing, slowly moving single line. The Kansas Department of Transportation said drivers will not be able to cross I-70 on the 183 bypass, and drivers will also not be able to turn right or left onto the bypass from I-70. The State Conservation Commission will hold its regular meeting on Monday, March 17th from 9 a.m. to noon at the USDA Service Center in Manhattan, and a virtual option will also be available. The SCC consists of 5 elected commissioners, 2 appointed members representing the Kansas State University Agriculture Experiment Station and Cooperative Extension Service, and 2 appointed members representing the Kansas Department of Agriculture and the U.S. Department of Agriculture Natural Resources Conservation Service. The Kansas Department of Agriculture Division of Conservation consults with the SCC to protect and enhance Kansas's natural resources through the development, implementation, and maintenance of policies, guidelines, and programs that are designed to assist local governments and individuals in conserving the state's renewable resources. The meeting is a regularly scheduled board meeting and is open to the public. For more information about the meeting, to access the virtual link, or to request a copy of the agenda, you can contact the KDADOC by phone at 785-564-6620. And anyone who requires special accommodations must make their needs known at least 24 hours prior to the meeting.